It's the stuff of sci-fi. It's a phrase that's sometimes used to describe things that really we don't expect to happen in our lifetimes. But I'm here to tell you that TV and movies have predicted more things in their sci-fi depictions of the world than you might think. So let's go on a journey through some of the things that have gone from sci-fi to reality.
I'll be back.
Oh, right. Wasn't expecting him. Nice to see you, Arnie. Thanks for the intro. Hello and welcome to Screen OD. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's great to have you on board. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tim. I'm an editor and a journalist who has been writing and talking about TV, movies and the entertainment industry for, well, nearly 15 years now. If you're not new to the channel, hello and welcome back. And can I ask you a favour? Can you just let anyone new know that it's great being a subscriber of Screen OD because you get all the best content direct to your feed. And if that's convinced you, someone who's new to the channel, please do write in the comments below if you do subscribe. Tell me what your favourite movies and TV shows are, and then we can use that information to not only say hi and get to know each other as part of the Screen OD community, but it helps me inform videos of the future. Okay, right, that's enough advertising. Let's move on to what you're here for, which is to find out about how sci-fi movies and TV shows became reality.
Gentlemen, beam me aboard.
We can't, Captain. Transporter is out again.
Mr. Scott, 20 seconds to detonation.
Goodness, high drama as always on the USS Enterprise there in the 1960s in the original series. And the reason I picked that clip, as you've probably guessed, is because you see Captain James T. Kirk there using his communicator device. Now, the communicator was something that allowed members of the crew to talk to each other, but also pinpoint positions and also send SOS messages when they needed to. Does that sound familiar? Yes, indeed. It was like a flip phone, wasn't it? But actually, the functionality in it was quite similar to a modern smartphone. Yes, you couldn't do your Snapchat and stuff because it hadn't been invented yet, but it was a very smart device, which now everyone's got one in their pocket. But everyone in the 1960s, when they looked at that communicator device, saw it as something that would probably never happen. But it did happen, and it has happened. And now you can have one. And if you're interested in making your current phone look a bit like a Star Trek communicator, I've rooted around the internet and I found some fun stuff for you. So if you look in the description below, you can find out how to buy things like this smartphone cover that makes it look like you've got a communicator in your pocket. You can get the old pin badge, which is actually a Bluetooth device that connects up so you can actually talk through it and connect that to your phone. And then you can get these really nice replicas of the Star Trek communicator. Now, if you do choose to buy any of those through the links below, the channel may make a commission, but that's all good news because you're helping to support the Screen OD channel. Anyway, let's move on to our next thing. Ah, 2019. Do you remember it well? We used to fly around our cars in Los Angeles in the pouring rain. Great times. Now, of course, the flying car hasn't quite developed yet from 1982's Blade Runner, but what we did see in that clip was an enormous digital hoarding with advertising on it, and that is something that in 1982 was something of the future. It wasn't in every street, it wasn't on every city corner, but of course now today, those kind of digital billboards that go beyond the normal just advertising, they are videos, they are holograms, they are exciting, colourful experiences, in some cases that actually adapt to what is going on around them. That is commonplace. So Blade Runner, Ridley Scott in 1982, that was something quite futuristic to predict. Oh yes, what was once just a sci-fi fantasy is now a marketeer's dream, and we can be advertised at on any street corner in any city, almost anywhere in the world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Where am I?
You're in a Johnny Cab.
I mean, what am I doing here?
I'm sorry. Would you please rephrase the question? Huh?
How did I get in this taxi?
The door opened. You got in.
Ah, the Johnny Cab, everyone's favourite autonomous driving vehicle. But of course, when Total Recall came out in 1990, the idea of cars driving themselves felt pretty futuristic. Now, today, of course, some of the biggest automotive manufacturers in the world and the tech companies are all trying to work out how to make cars drive on their own. Some with more success than others. And I think this footage here just is someone where you can't see the hands on the wheel, but it gives the illustration of an automated car driving along. And I'm sure at some point in the very near future, these automated cars will become quite the reality in our lives. Whether or not they'll still have Johnny driving them, I don't know. I think personally, I'd feel more comfortable if he wasn't there, but we'll have to see how it goes. But once again, a great prediction from Sci-Fi of the way that things would go.
Please contact the Met Office.
Hello. How are you, Squirt? What are you doing?
No, 2001 A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, didn't predict the fact that it would be very difficult to get any sense out of children when you talk to them. That's been going on long before people were on space stations trying to make video calls. But the thing that it did predict was that our everyday lives would at some point involve video calls. And as many of us have found since March 2020, video calls are very much part of our lives now. In fact, a lot of people have spent the last couple of years doing very little except make video calls, as this video illustrates, sometimes drinking a cup of coffee. But video calls in this setting in 1968, and this is not just between two people in different towns, this is about someone in space calling Earth. This was pretty futuristic stuff, and he put his card in and his pin in there. So it kind of reminds you of some of the early days of Skype. Of course, now video calls are something that people make without having to pay at all. So things have moved on completely. But video calling, 2001 A Space Odyssey, that is something that was pretty ahead of its time. Now, you might say that you wish we hadn't got to that time, but we have. The future has arrived, and you've got that film to help thank for it.
There's nothing there. The books have nothing to say.
Well, of course it's not got anything to say. It's a book. It can't talk. It's not an audio book. You have to read it, mate. Don't just sweep them on the floor or burn them. It's just not on. Anyway, this is Fahrenheit 451, which is a 1966 film based on a Ray Bradbury novel. And the thing that's interesting about this one is not that it predicted the fact that the audiobook would come along and allow books to talk to you, which is something that does happen. And interestingly, is what the device that it predicted is used for in many cases. Because in the book and in the movie, there is a device called a seashell, which is a thimble-like device that goes inside people's ears, and it allows wireless communication of information and music. And many people have compared this to the earbud, or Apple's very famous example of that, the AirPod. You've got to remember that most people in the 60s who were using headphones would have had massive great cans like that connected by a loopy wire to their record player. So the idea of a wireless device that can be used anywhere was pretty futuristic. But the AirPod has arrived, and if you want to get your hands on one, there are some deals down below in the description of AirPods. So, you know, do feel free to check them out if you would like.
I have extended my consciousness to this house. All systems here are now under my control.
In the 21st century, the Internet of Things, well, it's a thing. Everyone wants everything to be automated, and they want to be able to do it through voice activation. You want a little box in the corner of the room that you can say, turn off the lights, turn up the heating, turn down the TV. You don't want to have to put wear and tear on that on your finger, because why would you press a button when you can just talk to a machine in the corner that will do it all for you? Well, in the 1977 horror film Demon Seed, a man comes up with a device that's kind of like a brain for his house that is able to do a lot of the things that we would expect from a smart home. Now, we don't want to talk too much about how things kind of ended up going a little bit wrong with the device in Demon Seed, but the smart home idea was kind of pretty much well illustrated in this film, because the device was able to do a lot of the things that people expect now.
Geordi, a man with unique vision, and Klingon officer Worf.
Shields and deflectors up, sir. Got a yellow alert.
Today, the idea of being able to aimlessly while away our hours by scrolling up and down a mobile phone screen or on a tablet or increasingly on a computer screen is something that we kind of expect as standard. But in 1987, when Star Trek The Next Generation exploded onto our screens, this was something that people probably hadn't seen very much before. Was it predicting the future? Did it see what we would all be doing? Well, they didn't quite get the riding around in space bit right, but when it came to the screens and the touch screens, I think they had it pretty much bang on. Okay, I think that's all we've got time for now. But if you can think of any sci-fi TV shows and movies that have had things that have gone on to become reality, please do put them in the comments below. And if we can come up with enough, perhaps we can make another video. If you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button because it really helps the channel and it helps people find this content. Also, if you're not already a subscriber and you've enjoyed what you've watched, please consider subscribing to Screen OD for some great content around TV, around movies and around streaming. You will have it all delivered direct to your feed, which is no bad thing. You can just kick back, put your feet up, relax and enjoy. Until next time, thanks so much for watching and we'll see you